cops are lying to you. They don't serve the people. They're keeping something from you. The world is flat. The world has an end.
Being honest is seen mostly as a positive character trait. That being said, liars, or people who hide truths, are almost seen as heathens in a sense. Once someone lies, you can never really trust them the same again. So what does that have to do with a GameCube game that released more than 20 years ago? A message that has resonated with me now more than ever than when I played this game as a kid. So, buckle up, kiddos, because this is the dark truth in Custom Robo.
Custom Robo is how I would classify it, as almost a top-down arcade-esque shooter set in a really amazing futuristic environment. Like I mentioned earlier, this game came out 21 years ago and surprisingly still holds up today. While researching this video, I came across so many videos that just talked about and praised this game for all of its amazing qualities, and it's just really amazing to see that I am not alone in thinking that this game still holds up. The main appeal of the game is in the title itself, being able to customize your little robo guy right here to your heart's content with different blasters, bombs, boots, and sorts of robo chassis. The gameplay consists of challenging other robos with your robos, gathering new parts, uncovering that your whole world is a lie, using a hidden technology that your dead father gave you to defeat an alien god and save the world. Typical stuff. Now, we're going to do a deep dive of this game's story. We're going to cover, basically the beginning and the end. Skipping over a few minor details, but going over the big ones. With that being said, it's going to be a long video. Buckle up, get cozy. If you're running on the treadmill, get ready to run. If you're at work, lock the fuck in. But listen closely, as we're going to cover a lot of information. With that being said, let's begin. The game starts off with your father coming home from work early to give you a gift. You're startled to see him, but nonetheless you're excited. In a rush, he hastily entrusts you with a special watch. He asks you to think about him every time you wear it, and after that, he's never seen again. Off to a great start already. Some years pass, and your neighbor or landlord, Lucy, wakes you up and says that you have a job interview at Stalehorse. It's actually called Steelhearts. You get dressed, and off you go, not before saying goodbye to Lucy, who kind of acts like a makeshift mother role to you. I really do like this Lucy character, though. Her interactions are often humorous. However, in her dialogue, you can feel that she genuinely cares about you. She even states that she's worried for you at one point, and she's often waking you up every time and wondering if you're ever going to wake up on your own. It basically cements my thoughts about her being this, mother, figure in your life. Come to think of it, where is your mom? She isn't mentioned after this, so she must have ran off or died. Jeez, we are 2 for 2 with openings. Dad's gone, mom's dead. What's next? You failed the job interview? Oh wait, that does kind of happen, but we'll get into that. Finally getting into Steelhearts, you are greeted by this rad dude chilling on the couch and your presumed boss. This dude is Harry, and gotta say, I fucking love this dude. His dialogue, his artwork, and his mannerisms are all brilliant. We'll talk about him a little later as well. Harry directs you to this scary looking dude who is Ernest, your boss. So the job interview commences, he asks a few questions, and I think it goes pretty well. I mean, Harry vouches for us. Absolute bro, love you, man. Ernest gets a call, and we're sent out to the research lab, where we have to meet a Miss Linda. Harry accompanies us, as we don't have a robo yet, and he's the only one who has one, so he technically has to lead us on this job. We get there, and, oh boy. Shit is, going down here. We confront the captain, who also gives us a great piece of dialogue. Linda soon finds us, and whew mama, she sure is a looker. I can see why our boss got so ushy-gushy earlier. She tells us that these thieves are after a top-secret robo that they've been working on dubbed Ray 01. Harry goes off to fight one of these goons, leaving us to wonder what the hell is going on. And Linda tells us that these people are fighting. These guys are fighting in digital arenas known as Holosseums using custom robos. The thing these goons are fighting for is this cube right here. You're also greeted by the greatest piece of artwork in the game. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the confused face. I know, marvelous, isn't it? It really evokes the feeling that I'm pretty sure we're all feeling right about now. But don't worry, this face will make another appearance in the game. Back to the story. With no way to help, we gun after the cube and take it for ourselves, and we kill everyone around us and rule the custom Robo world. Don't know what got into me right there. With no way to help, we run up to Harry to try and be of assistance, but... Oh my god! My boy, you alright? Holy shit! The burglar wins the custom Robo battle. With Harry weakened from the fight, we try and convince him to use his Robo. However, you can't, as he's already done his iScan registration. How convenient. Which leads us to pick up this cube that the goons are looking for, scanning in, and getting our Robo. We finally have a means of fighting. With our Robo equipped, we begin the fight with the burglar. Harry tells us a bunch of shit, but we don't care! Let's get into this! Before every fight, you're given the stats and Robo that the enemy is using, as well as a chance to add parts to your Robo. Hence the name Custom Robo. As well as a chance to view the map or Holosseum that you two will be fighting in. Anyway, screw that, let's fight! You're equipped with this 3-round burst blaster, as well as bomb pods and rocket boots. I should mention that there's 3 forms of attacking: shooting, meleeing, and bombs. We'll discuss this and go into depth later. I promise we will. But you can pretty much button mash with the starting fight, as the weapons are all pretty accurate, but trust me, in the later game, these weapons will die off, and fast. You take him out, and of course, another hole opens in the universe and sucks this cop down to the ground, aka another combat sequence. You take him out and gather some new custom Robo parts. Hence the name Custom Robo. Am I right? Am I right? I made this joke before. Anyway, these machines are part generators. Go to them after receiving new parts to fabricate them and use them in fights. You take out this guy, and again the police force fails, and another combat sequence is initiated. Kinda makes you think, what the hell are these cops doing, and why do they suck so much? Finally, after stopping these goons, the police force backup arrives. Here we are introduced to Captain Mira and Roy. Mira actually being Harry's sister. Mira actually tries to convince Harry to become a police officer and get a Class A license, although I wouldn't, as these guys suck. Then we're back to Linda, who states that she was impressed by her abilities as a beginner Robo commander, and that she'll let us keep the Robo dubbed Ray01. After a long day's work, you head back home, not before stopping by Steelhearts to hear if you got the job. Congrats, you did! Okay, we're hired for our Robo, not our skills. Well, I'll say that we took out 3 criminals, while highly trained police personnel were knocked out by said criminals, so, that statement, not the best. Anywho, time for a nice rest. Time for our first day on the job as an employed person of the United States of Custom Robo. We go to the Custom Robo gym. This part isn't really story heavy, so we'll just skip to the end, where my man Harry is trying to score. However, is cock-blocked by our boss Ernest, who's screaming in wingdings? We are summoned to handle a fight between 2 lovers facing a quarrel, competing for a beautiful damsel, who called both of them to date, only to find one another there, hence their fight. Look, you get the idea, they're just gonna fight each other because they were trying to hook up with this chick. Harry and me team up to take care of these intruders in a 1v1 battle each. Take care of them, and we're introduced to the last of our trio, the lovely Miss Marcia, who saves Harry in a really odd cutscene. I don't know how to explain this, but just watch it. Marcia asks us what our license class is, to which, we need a license to drive the custom Robo? Since when? And what would the police do if they caught us without a license? Marcia states that they'll arrest us if we don't have one, but I highly doubt that, as they couldn't even handle a couple of goons. But we'll follow the system that keeps us oppressed and regulated for the totalitarian... Fuck. I can't get this right. For the totalitarian state we live in. In short, Class D license tomorrow, get new parts, test new parts, go to sleep, go to testing center. One funny note here is that if you actually go back to that park that you were just at for the last quest, you can actually find that gal that the 2 guys were fighting over. And if you actually go up and talk to her, she's literally on another date. Damn, that was fast.
women.
One thing that I like is that Lucy wakes you up in the morning for the first few missions. However, she almost always has a chat with you, encouraging you to do good things, and it's super sweet and wholesome. As you progress in the game too, the little intro missions, your character will progressively wake up more and more on his own, until eventually leading up to the final mission, where you do wake up by your own, and Lucy is impressed. Anywho, testing day for the license. At the testing center, my man Harry is down bad for the ladies. I mean, my brother, good God. What is that? What are you doing? What is this? Put that away. Do you want to explain to me what he's doing here? I mean, if I saw a dude doing this in real fucking life, I swear to God, dude. If I saw a dude doing that in real life, I'd probably run. I probably want to be anywhere near him when he's doing that. That's just me. To add to the humor in this scene, this cop right here isn't actually a cop. He's a guy who loves dressing as a police officer, which is actually very illegal in real life. He just loves dressing as one, but he's also trying to become a police officer. Well, he's also gonna love having his ass kicked by any Joe Schmo in the street. I'm just gonna say, the police suck in this game. Harry's trying to snag this chick's number and has already set the test up for us. The test begins, and it's a knowledge test. You're asked a bunch of questions related to custom Robo knowledge. If you haven't been paying attention, then you may lose this. The last question actually got me on how many questions there were, as I didn't keep track. However, a 90 score is still considered passing. On to the next test, which is actually a combat test. Take him out, and you've officially gotten the Class D license. Congratulations, you're officially legal. Get back to Harry, who got this chick's number. Score, my brother. Returning back to Steel Hearts, Ernest instructs us that Harry is now our partner in crime. Harry objects though. Goddamn, brother, you vouched for me. In an effort to rekindle our partnership, Harry escorts us home. On the way, Harry learns of our backstory and swiftly tells us to fuck off, essentially. He runs back to call the chick who got his number, but not before dropping his number next to my house. Foreshadowing much. The day ends, and you know how it goes. Lucy wakes us up, and we're on our way to our next assignment. Holy fuck, what is going on in there? Harry being bummed about losing that chick's number, he follows us all mopey and dopey and shit. We enter an apartment and go to fight my neighbors. Quite the sentence there. The wife explains that she has a metal grappler robo and she's pretty insistent on telling me, as when I asked her why, she just kept on explaining it to me. The game actually often does this. When you go over like the comedic option in text options, the NPC will literally just recite the same thing over and over, which is a little lame because the funny option's funny. This arena is interesting as well, as in the middle is a platform that will shrink down. If you stand on it for too long, it will result in a lava pool stage hazard. And I'll be honest, this fight was a little difficult with the robot that I was using. Harry defeats the husband, and I defeat the wife. That sounded so fucking wild. Then our first 2v2 fight ensues. Somehow, they still have energy to fight, and the fight ensues, and it's chaos. There's bombs flying all over the area, bullets firing, robos dashing, and shit's just happening, and it's just awesome. In a 2v2 fight, you can shift your targeting from one robo to another with the click of a button. You and Harry destroy the other robos. The couple calms down after having their ass kicked, and Marcia comes charging in out of nowhere to help mediate the situation. After some back and forth, we find out that the wife thought the husband was cheating on her, as they found a note on the ground from the day before. And who could have guessed? It was the gal's number that Harry snagged. Harry's reaction is hilarious too, how he perks up right after he finds it. Like, he's just so depressed the whole mission and then just like snaps out of it. Marcia attends to the children who were upset at their parents fighting. In a wholesome display, Marcia plays with the children to calm them down. It's here that we learn from Harry that Marcia's parents passed away and that her brother, who was actually a member of the police squad, disappeared. Since then, she's been gifted some mysterious power. This will also be explained later. However, now she appears very quiet and shy. From what Harry says, she hopes to get her Class A Robo license to become part of the police squad and track down her brother. Probably not the best career choice in my opinion. We're then contacted by Ernest, who requests us to go to a Bogey's cafe to track down a wanted criminal. So we head to the cafe and we meet the character. Okay, I mean, how do I even describe this guy? I mean, Joker wannabe head ass over here. His name is Evil. I know, quite the name. Who doesn't even actually turn out to be a bad guy. I mean, kind of does. We'll get more into that later on. But, so this is Evil. He is the leader of another rival bounty hunting group called Dark Blue. The owner of the cafe, Bogey, hired this dude to catch the outlaw. Apparently he's always relied on our bounty hunter company, but hired this dude because our boss was crying in the corner writing poetry. Holy shit, this game is just freaking wild. It's also funny how when this dude laughs, his goons react as well. Just another little funny character quirk. Surprisingly, we don't fight this guy. He nopes the fuck out of there, and after being humiliated, we head straight back to the office to find Ernest, to find out what the hell happened back there. We confront Ernest with our disappointing results, as well as his behavior. He congratulates us and nopes the fuck out as well, and we just call it a day. You know the drill. Lucy wakes... Oh, our phone rings. It's Harry. He tells us to meet us at the Chinese restaurant, the Daimon. Cool, heading out. You talk to Lucy? You know, this game is so wholesome and fun. Nothing bad has really happened. That dude, he's not dead, is he? Ernest confirms our fears. This guy's passed away before everyone arrived. Apparently, people can die in the custom Robo battles through immense mental stress. The police arrive. They should have been here first, but from Harry's statement, the owner called Steelhearts first. Harry even grills Roy, stating that they only show up for the big crimes, and that bounty hunters take care of everything, stating, "You're not looking after the people who need you." Damn, well said. Captain Mira states that the victim was killed by some autonomous Robo. Up until now, we've only heard of Robos being controlled by people. These Robos, the autonomous ones, were designed for manual and repetitive labor, but there have been no reports of ones that can fight. Mira seeks Marcia's assistance in her secret power of half-diving. As we mentioned before about her secret power, Marcia has the ability to dive into a Robo that's already been registered by eye contact. She can't control them, but she's able to read the commander's remaining cognition. So in Harry's words, whatever the commander saw through his Robo's eyes, she sees. She can even read the guy's last thoughts. Kinda gruesome, huh? Pretty metal in my opinion. Marcia initiates a half dive into the Robo, stating that the Robo that attacked this guy didn't even look like one, but a living being. Roy states that no living thing can enter a Holosseum. Something about this thing moves different than any Robo. This power takes a toll on Marcia's body. In Harry's words, her bad thoughts are multiplied by 100, and she gets so stressed out that she freezes. Marcia heads with the police in order to sketch out what she saw. The boys head back to the HQ, and a call interrupts our conversation. It's Bogey, the cafe owner. He's got a job for us. Harry and I head over and... oh, fuck. This guy. Also, if I may add, we didn't see this guy when we walked in here. You know, him in his bright blue suit and his goons in their pink pants. We're almost surprised to have seen him. We just walked in straight, and he was to the left, and it's just me, right? I mean, I don't know. Evil fights us in a 2v2 battle here, and his Robo is actually pretty tough. It has the ability to do consecutive dashes in the air, and on my first attempt, I actually died here. However, on the next try, I was able to beat him and secure the job. Bogey informs us that behind this wall is a room in which he holds custom Robo battles for money. It's funny too, because he called us to handle this situation rather than the cops, as he'd be shut down by them if he did phone the police. Harry and I head in, we chat with the crowd, and find out that this Shiner character has been winning all these matches. We enter into the tournament to knock him off his pedestal. Our first opponent is a cop? So the police force is incredibly weak. They don't help people with the small problems in their lives, and they engage in illegal activity. And if I'm reading this right, it's for an insurance claim? So they don't even take care of their own when they're injured? Sheesh, we are 3 for 3 in terms of this police force, and something's just not adding up. We're actually gonna skip over this tournament section as it's just a lot of custom Robo fights, and I could go into detail about them, but they're pretty straightforward. We get to the last fight in this illegal tournament, where we come across a dude named Shiner. And this fight's actually interesting, as Shiner uses a Robo dubbed Breaker. This Robo has a special mechanic in which its dash actually transforms it into a jet, or a vehicle of sorts. It's kind of just like a transformer, I'll be honest. It transforms into a jet that flies around the arena. During this transformation, it can still fire its main guns and bombs, but it can't melee. Shiner is defeated, and it's revealed that he's a part of some secret organization called Z. They're very mysterious, and we only know that they're planning something with their custom robos as a testament to Harry. Some great dialogue ensues, and Shiner escapes. Marcia rushes in, and is nudged by this guy. I wonder who this could be. Next day, we're entered into another tournament in order to boost our reputation with the people. I'll skip over this as well, however we are introduced to one of the best looking but worst fights in the game. It's actually against the owner of the restaurant where the dead guy was found. What the hell is he doing here? The police shut down his restaurant, so he's forced to compete for the prize money. Well, he ain't getting that prize money. Fuck you! And your Chinese restaurant! And your prize money! And your Robo! This guy's Robo is fast, only capable of taking a very small amount of hits, then becoming invulnerable. His weapon, as well as this drill thing that does so many hits in a row, top this with his arena being this bowl-shaped object. Funny that him being a chef. It's a doozy, but like I said, it's pretty looking. Now I feel is a good time to explain the combat in this game. You've heard me before give a brief explanation of the fighting. However, it goes much, much deeper than that. I mentioned earlier that Robos become invulnerable to damage after a short time. This goes for every Robo in the game. Each Robo has a cap to how much damage they can take before entering into this invulnerable state. The Robo the restaurant owner is using is the Little Raider model. This model is insanely agile. I mean, just look at this mofo go. However, like I mentioned, it'll take a small amount of damage and be knocked down. In this state, your Robo is still perceptible to damage, but only for a small window. Afterwards, your Robo will stand up again and gain a small window of invulnerability. In addition to that, each Robo gains a unique melee/dash attack, and some are better than others, and some are just downright hilarious. Take for instance the Metal Ox. You could tell from his size that he's a tankier custom Robo. As such, his melee is crazy. I think it has like one of the biggest? What the f is biggest? One of the biggest melee windows in the entire game. It can literally catch Robos from like across the map. I mean, just look at this. An interesting melee set actually comes from the Trick Flyer model of Custom Robo. The Criminal Robo actually spins his legs up like a helicopter and charges forward. And the Buggy Robo actually really surprised me when I was testing him out, in that it just teleports above your enemy and just spirals downward. A very interesting spectacle, to say the least. To add to the dash feature, or mention the jump feature, because from certain perspectives, it looks like the Robos are dashing and some are jumping higher. And the game even, cites this, saying that Robos get certain dashes. I digress, I'm getting a little off topic here. Each Robo gets a jump ability that is unique to their Robo model. There's usually 3 Robos in each model set. Take for instance, Shiner's Robo from before, the Breaker Robo that transforms and flies like a jet around the arena. Take for instance my favorite custom Robo model in the game, the Shrike Vanisher models, which get a teleportation dash, which is kind of broken, but really cool. Which they also have the coolest designs in the game, that is undebatable by the way. Specifically the Halberd, super dope. And even the Glaive model, which I thought at first looked a little goofy, it actually kind of gives me like Bionicle vibes, which is really dope. It's funny to note too that they're named after long hilt weapons, Javelin, Glaive, Halberd, really dope. I will also note that the Javelin is pretty broken as he can do this. Yeah, so he basically gets an infinite melee. Just another reason why the Striker Vanisher is my favorite model in the game. Even the illegal Robos gain an extra dash and melee, which we'll get into in a little bit. There is also another addition that you can apply to your custom Robos, and that is the boots that you can apply to them. These often increase a certain stat, whether it be jump interval, dash interval, movement speed, banking around corners, which is a particularly weird stat, but nonetheless a stat that can be increased. All at the cost of a certain stat being decreased. All of this combined with the weaponry is awesome. There is a lot of customization and build variety that will keep you invested whilst playing. Anywho, back to the story. After that Robo tournament, we're tasked with guarding the Robo research lab that was broken into in the beginning. Finally, it feels like we're getting somewhere in the story. After all, a guy just died and we were called in to help, so to actually do something that could possibly prevent another death or harm sounds pretty good. So we head to the Robo research lab. It's interesting talking to the staff here as they're a little jumpy in terms of the place being raided recently. A little interesting that the police wouldn't set up any investigation or block off to secure the lab, but yeah. We see the lovely Miss Linda accompanied with this dude again. Some banter ensues, and we wait until all the employees leave to split up and see if anything's out of the ordinary. After searching around, a loud crash is heard. We head back to the main lab and see Evil standing above a smashed window. He states that there might be a bomb planted in here, so we search around while this asshole just stand there. Like, don't just stand there, help us look for this bomb. So with no bomb here, we search the main lab and shit's going down. The whole lab is wrecked. It looks like a hurricane went through here. We search a room right next to us and find a dude sniffing around. We talk to him and beat him half to death with our fists and bathe in his blood. This guy's name is Z Lackey too, so he's most likely connected with this Z syndicate organization that we mentioned earlier. We leave and are confronted by another dude.
Oh, you want some? I'll show you something you'll never forget.
We race around looking for more of these lackeys. In the main lab, there's one more dude, so we take care of him as well. We head outside to see Marcia wounded from a fight with this fine damsel. And let me just say, this exchange between us three is amazing. Marcia tells us to get away, while us being the hero, we stay to support her.
What should I do? Any chance I could convince you to let us go quietly without a fight?
Good question, but the answer is no. Let's try to be realistic from now on.
No sense of humor. You beat Marcia, how can I possibly win? But I can't leave Marcia all alone.
Zach, don't forget. Yo. Yo. Okay. Zach, don't forget about Zach. Oh, okay. Zach, don't forget about me. Please, run away.
Don't worry, Marcia. I'm gonna give it my best shot.
But I'd wish you'd cheer me. This part's so fucking funny to me.
But I'd wish you'd cheer me on instead of telling me to run away. It'd make me feel more confident.
Oh, how touching. But you two obviously have some issues you need to work out on your own time. The fight ensues, and this is one of the more interesting fights in the game, as it's an introduction to a custom stage, as well as illegal parts. Illegal parts in the custom Robo lore are parts that have violated the safety standards set by the custom Robo manufacturers. In gameplay, they're broke as hell. For instance, this lady's Robo has a unique melee attack as well as 2 extra boosts or jumps. In addition to illegal Robos, there's illegal weapons, bomb pods, boots, etc, etc. We'll encounter more illegal parts later, but let's go into detail in this fight. This Holosseum has parts of the stage that will rise up, revealing vantage points and also providing certain cover. However, in this flat arena is where this kill zone is, as it being a wide open arena, anything goes. For me, however, I use the Javelin Robo, and you know what that means. She leaves stating that her time is up, so we didn't really win, but we kinda did, which is odd. Harry gives Marcia a Robo Cube from a guy that he killed, and Marcia half dives into it. Nothing much is revealed, just some more fragments of info pertaining to the Z Syndicate. We go back to Linda, who we think is hiding something from us pertaining to the group raiding the lab. Another great conversation ensues, and I'll just let this one play out. It looks like the researchers' desks and shelves have been tampered with. Oh, sorry, we did that. I told you we should have been tidier. Well, it's too late now. You were the one who was tearing through all their paperwork. Harry, you were the one who told him to. Marcia, you were on it too. I know. Let's just pretend it didn't happen. You're right. What is it? What are you whispering about? Oh, nothing. Should we report this to the police? That's great. That's so fucking awesome. That's another day in the books. Hopefully nothing crazy happens tomorrow. Oh boy. This is the Robo that killed that dude back at that restaurant, and...
Hey guys, are we not gonna address this? Like what's going on right here? I know the conversation's important, but do you think maybe we could like do something about this? Like what's going on in this general direction? I mean, he's obviously gonna keep shooting. You guys are gonna keep talking. Is it just me?
Of course, Marcia and Harry want you to fight it. Harry wants to see what the Holosseum looks like, as we can't yet create one of our own. And my face says it all. I don't want to fight this guy. And is it just me, or this little bastard is actually kind of small? Like, he looks like he's smaller than my character model. Talk about a freaky design. This so gives me, like, System Shock vibes. Like, it looks like these fleshy tendrils have just wrapped around this robotic endoskeleton. It's super dope. It reminds me a lot, actually, of the Cortex Reavers from System Shock. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's definitely going to be a picture right here of that. Editor, don't forget to put that up. Anyway, on to the fight. Spoiler alert, this guy is Rahu, and we'll find out about his backstory later, as it's pretty wild. Also, I don't want to spoil it. As you've probably noticed, Rahu is rocking some illegal parts, which honestly just makes him broken as hell. And in my initial fight, I got my ass kicked. With this little bastard down, Harry immediately asks what the Holosseum was like, and our main character gives some strange answers. I've never seen anything like it. There were trees, but they weren't made out of metal or plastic. What does that even mean? There was grass too, but it was soft. It wasn't just rolled out plastic like in the park. Harry even chimes in stating, was the Holosseum built into it, or did that Robo make it from its own memories? Suddenly, our conversation is interrupted. This is Oboro? Oboro? Fuck you. This is Oboro and Sergey, two individuals from this mysterious Z syndicate organization. These two apparently set up a trap to lure this little bugger, Rahu, here. By planting that Z syndicate member, Shiner, from earlier and having him decimate the competition, this creature was drawn to all the negative energy from everyone losing, it being apparently Z syndicate property. These two fight us, and once you know it, they have illegal Robos. We take them out as usual, and they scurry away trying to nab this Rahu creature. Linda and Mira come charging in, demanding to know the situation. Harry does a cool dance, and Mira shows Linda a picture of this Rahu creature. Linda freaks out, saying it can't be this, and Mira actually has an interesting piece of dialogue here stating that. However, top officials are currently discussing the situation in the greatest secrecy. It seems to be exactly what you feared, Linda. Whatever that means. Marcia is still in complete shock, Mira and Linda leaving us in the dark, and Harry pissed off as to what's happening. Respectable anger, I'd say. We head home to start another day. Another day approaches, and we wake up by ourselves. Lucy is surprised, and congratulates us for doing so. Now, here's where shit gets serious, and it's almost the climax of the video. Reporting back to Steelhearts, Ernest states that the police are holding a tournament today as a goodwill gesture to the people. I'm with Harry on this one, stating that this isn't a good use of our time. Ernest also agrees, however, he's received a call urging us to join the tournament, specifically from Harry's sister. Heading to the police HQ, the chief of police gives a harrowing speech. Harry's dialogue is right here too. And also, another interesting note of Harry's dialogue, the police hate bounty hunters. We've seen this hatred acted out in Roy and a few police personnel, but not everybody. So why are they holding this tournament? Also, another great little piece of dialogue I'll just read out right here because it's actually very entertaining. Hey neighbor! Hiya Harry, let's go! Last time we lost, but this time we're gonna win for sure. So our first opponents are not only children, but they're also your next door neighbors? If we concentrate on Harry, we might just win. I heard that. I wanted to fight against Marcia. Harry's too much of a jerk. Hello, I can hear you. It's okay, Wendy. With Sealhead, my funky big head Robo. What the? I'll take down that jerk Harry. That's awesome. I love that piece of dialogue. The tournament begins and a bunch of fights ensue. Harry forces Marcia to fight in our spot later on in the tournament to knock Marcia out of her depression, but she still doesn't budge. We go up against Evil, who dismisses his lackey in order to fight us in a 1v1. Evil's Robo is pretty gnarly, but he goes down fairly easily. Evil retreats and the final battle ensues. Ernest and Linda, which is a little odd that our boss entered the tournament separate from us, but okay. Harry tries again to knock Marcia out of her depression, but she thinks that her brother who disappeared is watching her from somewhere. Harry yells at her. Man, Harry is dropping truth bombs, god damn! And Harry shouts in wingdings? Marcia actually gets some real character development here, realizing that she was being selfish and only thinking of herself and not others, being in this depressive state. She snaps out of it and joins us in the last tournament battle, and Marcia and I crush it. The chief congratulates us, and Captain Mira shows her appreciation by forcing Harry into helping whip up some dinner at their place. A nice little cutscene ensues of all of us enjoying a meal. However, good things never last. Harry asks Mira what the tournament was about, saying that the police force has been acting strange lately. Mira assures us that it's all for good relations with the public. Marcia chimes in about the Robo that showed up at the restaurant and the cafe. Mira tries to dissuade us from this conversation, and the dinner ends abruptly, and we all head home. It's the police. Congrats on winning the tournament. We'd like for you three to come on down and train our new recruits. We head to the police station. We fight 2 recruits. Then Linda, Roy, and Mira. Hold on a second. I thought we were fighting practice rounds here, training new recruits. We fought these 2 already, minus Roy. Roy also rocks the Halberd Robo, which is the coolest Robo in the game. After just barely winning, we fight the chief of police, who we annihilate. After this practice tournament, we hear mention of a Class S license, which leads us to our first big revelation in the game. Class A is the highest rank a civilian can hold, but the Class S test is different. In order to take this test, we have to be recommended by a Class S commander. The chief of police also drops another revelation. Yesterday's tournament and today's matches were simply to test your skills. Also, Harry finds out that Mira is actually a Class S commander, and so is Linda. Finally, we take this test, and it's against the Rahu thing? How the hell did they recreate this? No matter, we gotta take it down for the test, and he kicks my ass again. Seriously, I'm gonna be just straight up honest. This fight is completely broken. At this point in the game, you don't have much customization in terms of your Robo, and the ones that you do, it's really hard to actually, compete against them. I try again and lose, and we're gonna fast forward a little bit to when I beat him. We defeat him, and it looks like we all had to fight that Robo, Marcia, Harry, and I. With that victory, we were all Class S commanders. It is here that the chief tells us of Class S ranking, stating that the information is highly classified by the government. The Robo we fought in there was named Rahu, as if we couldn't figure that out by checking out its parts in the fight screen. It's here that we find out what Rahu really is. Rahu is a living being that nearly wiped out the entire human race. The Class S test was a simulation of Rahu's behavior. Marcia chimes in, stating that it's impossible that we could have heard about it. No, it's been kept absolutely out of the public domain. No citizen knows a thing about it. And the Wholesome? Its Wholesome is built from an entirely natural environment. Natural? What do you mean? Before Rahu came, much of the world was covered in wild growth, entirely uncontrolled by man. Rahu took that from us, covered the world in darkness. Nothing natural remains. Everything that lives here does so because men control every aspect of its growth artificially. The word nature itself has lost almost all meaning in our modern world. But once, real trees, grass, and soil covered the earth with little to no artificial controls. Harry starts freaking out, and we're all sent home to process all this information. It's Ernest. That Robo's back and it's tearing up the Diamond Chinese restaurant. We rush over there and find Marcia and Harry standing next to Evil, who is fighting Rahu. And Evil actually manages to defeat Rahu and knock it out of its coliseum. Marcia congratulates Evil, but says that we need to take that Robo to the police station as they're looking for it. Evil chimes back, stating that, "I'm taking this Robo with me as a prize. Call it a reward for my hard day's work." Yep, this dude's gonna die. Evil's gonna turn Rahu into the Z syndicate in hopes of joining their ranks. This dude is simping over that one hot chick we saw earlier, and he thinks he's got a chance with her if he turns in Rahu. It's also here that we find out that the break-in at the lab was also part of Evil's plan. Speak of the devil, here is our mistress now, and it seems that there's been a change of plan. This woman has never met Evil before, and his hopes of joining the Z syndicate are thwarted. Evil literally starts crying, and wouldn't you know it, we're the only ones capable of fighting this damsel, and it's in this arena once more. We take her out, this time with much ease, and she threatens to turn off her Robo's safety switch, not before being interrupted by Beavis and Butthead over here. Oh no, not more freaks. Couldn't have said it better myself. In all serious though, I really do love the character design in this game. The lady leaves, and Marcia and I join forces to fight Sergey and Oboro, because... dun dun dun, Sergey is Marcia's brother. Wow, who couldn't see that coming? What with the blue hair? But dude, what's up with the hockey mask? Does everyone just have like some sort of augmented face wear? Like, I mean, Ouroboros literally has Kano's eye laser strapped to his face. What's the point of this? We take on Oboro and Sergey, both of which are rocking a full set of illegal parts. Oboro's Robo model is especially deadly. It being the Striker Vanisher model, it gains an extra invisible dash. Marcia and I manage to defeat them though, and Oboro throws a flashbang and they nab Rahu. Naturally, we run back to the police station, desperate to inform them of our last encounter. We inform them of our run-in with Rahu and the Z Syndicate. Mira questions why the restaurant owner didn't call the police. Harry states that after Rahu attacked last time, the police shut his restaurant down. The chief fires back with, "We shut down his restaurant last time because he didn't call us. It was a punitive measure, but it looks like it didn't have much effect. We better work on improving our public relations." The chief then states that the Z Syndicate hideout is somewhere in the outside world. Mira then asks us what we know about the world. This is seriously in the game, I kid you not. She asks us if the world is flat or round. Phew, okay. This is an easy one. It's round, of course. I kid you not. Harry fires back, stating that, Hey, you can't be serious. You know the world is flat. Are you talking crazy? Did we just get duped? Tricked? Scallywagged?
Don't you feel silly? Don't you feel stupid? Don't you feel a little ashamed?
Marcia even thinks the world is flat, and I'm the dumb one for thinking it's not? And then, the bombshell. The world is flat, like Harry said. That's what we were all taught through school. Try to be serious now. What is the end of the world like? Jeez, getting to the serious questions now, are we? Well, we're only presented with two options. The world has no end, and there's a huge wall. What are we to choose? I mean, due to the GameCube's limitations, the walls around us, there's surely more out there, right? It's kind of like Pokemon Small Towns and the Game Boys and the DS and such. We all know that these are simply due to the hardware limitations and that, like, these are just supposed to be speculative, right? The world has no end. Harry scolds us, and Marcia's dialogue is most telling. You know about the wall, don't you? The wall that surrounds the world? You're just joking, right? What the hell is going on? Marcia's right. The world is surrounded by a giant wall. A wall that encircles the world. So this whole thing, the game world, is our world. There's nothing out there but a wall. with a fake day and night cycle too, as depicted in the chapters beforehand. Okay. The chief takes us to the bathroom, which is pretty odd, but he actually informs us that this is a secret elevator. This handprint photo is actually a sensor, which, when you think of it, it just does look very out of place. And there's a subterranean train here? The chief leads us, and... Okay, we've officially reached the end of the world. What the hell is going on? And the soundtrack here is so otherworldly, it just really adds to the atmosphere of this whole reveal. The chief then leads us to a giant metal door. He asks us if we know what's behind this door. Harry states, it's the end of the world, there's nothing behind it. And the chief says probably one of the most bone-chilling dialogues in the game. Good. Just like it says in your school books. You're right, there shouldn't be anything beyond this wall. However, in reality, the world continues far beyond these artificial boundaries. Everyone is naturally shocked. The chief opens the door and... This is the outside world. Our world, the flat one, as we know it, is behind us. This dome-like structure is our world. We were lied to. We were all taught in school that the world has an end and that the wall is everything and nothing, and here it's all a lie. This is the world that Rahu left for us with its destruction that covered it in a blanket of darkness. Nearly 200 years ago? So you're telling me countless generations have lived and died within these walls not knowing the truth? The dark truth in Custom Robo is that this entire world that we've lived in for 200 years is a complete lie. The feeble police force that doesn't do anything notable for its people or for the world holds a tournament to find someone capable of defeating this being that destroyed us in the first place. This reality has been manufactured and sold to us and is followed and not questioned. Marcia and Harry berate and belittle us for not thinking that the world is flat and doesn't have a wall. The chief of police mutters good at Harry's response, stating that just like in your history books, meaning that these officials and the police force have instituted this reality as well. They're in on it too, and with that amount of power, that level of control, this world can have infinite amounts of corruption. This world we live in is fake, it's fabricated, controlled artificially to recreate life. This overworld that we see in game, this is it. This is our life. This is where the world ends. The dark truth in Custom Robo is that this world is not ours. It's someone else's. It was created to shelter us from a terrible evil, not to propagate humanity, but to subjugate them. It seems like just recently, too, Rahu has made an appearance. So where was it all this time? Just hiding in the outside world? Why haven't we gone back? This could also explain the police matter, since they're only interested in big cases, i.e. ones about people trying to escape or break out. People dying is one thing, but someone escaping? Now that's something of the utmost priority. However, the police force in general appears very weak, beings as they falter to ordinary goons like the ones at the beginning of the game. Even later on, the police force doesn't take care of their own, as shown with Polly, the officer, who gambles to afford health insurance. What is this world if not corrupt and unjust? With rogue bounty hunters being called into murder cases and people losing faith in the police force to an extent that the police issues a gesture of goodwill towards the community in a Robo tournament, only to find that that tournament was all but a test. An experiment, if you will, to find someone capable of taking down Rahu. If Mira was strong enough, she would have done something. If Roy was strong enough, he would have done something. If the chief of police and the police force were strong enough, they would have done something by now. But no, they can't, and to an extent, I don't think they would have. You see, this force lingering over them gives them an excuse to find the strongest out of all of them, and either recruit this person or eliminate them. After all, they've seen this discovery, and they're trying to find the strongest individual in order to stop Rahu. So what better way than to use somebody to stop a world-threatening event and then get rid of them after said event and keep it all under wraps from the public?
Do you see now why I needed such a lengthy explanation for this game's story? I felt like I couldn't even do it justice if I just skipped over the minor parts and the big chunks. I needed the whole length.
That sounds fucking gay.
I felt like I couldn't even do it justice if I just skipped over the minor details and the big ones. The whole story is just so crazy to me, and I really wanted to talk about this game in an entertaining way and showcase all of its amazing features, the biggest one being its story, and I felt that I needed such a huge amount of time to tell it.
Well, we're already this far, so let's finish it off, shall we? Heading back to the chief's office, we have a riveting conversation about what we just saw. The chief asks us if our lives are altered or different from what we just saw. Harry states that he's surprised, and Marcia says that she's uncomfortable. You know my answer. The chief then asks, if you died without ever knowing the true nature of our world, would there have been a problem? Marcia is unsure. The chief then states, anyone who sees that wasteland feels unsafe, uneasy. If people are happy living in ignorance, why ruin that happiness with the truth? The story heavily compares, in my mind at least, to 1984. And if you guys know where I'm going with this, in that the statement, ignorance is bliss. People could go their whole lives without knowing that certain options, things, and experiences exist out of their own defined reality. I feel like the chief sums it up best by asking us what we think of the outside world, in that when people see the truth, they feel nauseous, and the reason why is because their whole life is a lie. Before, they lived in complete bliss, but knowing that there's something out there, out of their own defined reality, it frightens them. To protect this world and to ensure the happiness of the people who live in it is the duty of a Class S commander. We've taken a bite out of the theoretical apple and we can't go back. We've opened Pandora's box. So now we must secure this information for the public's safety. Mira informs us that the Z Syndicate has knowledge of the outside world and is planning to do something with Rahu. Mira actually says another interesting thing here. However, if the public knew the truth, other more dangerous syndicates might form. I can understand why, as this truth has been hidden from them for so long. She also states that Roy has been investigating the Z Syndicate hideout and will report back to the location soon. And the chief drops another revelation, and something that I actually admitted to earlier. That's where we need your help. I'm ashamed to admit it, but there simply aren't enough people in the police squad with the skill and mental strength and stability to acquire a Class S license. Harry chimes back with, so that's why you had us take the S rank test to help you guys out. That's not true. We do think you have talents, this is the truth. I chime back with, but if you wanted us to help, you should have told us before we took the S rank test. Yeah, that's right, you shouldn't have told us later. The chief asks for our help, but doesn't force us, which I find pretty interesting. So, we all go home and sleep on the decision to help the chief. We report to Steelheart's HQ, where Ernest says the chief of police has an assignment for us. Ernest states again that it's up to us if we want to take the job. Oddly enough, the chief of police asks for Ernest's permission. You don't sound like you want us to take the job. It's good money, isn't it? Yeah, the money's good, but if you want my opinion, I'm against it. I'm not an idiot. I can tell you guys are getting into something dangerous here. I know I'm just your boss and I have no idea what you think of me, but I like you, and I don't want to see you die on some fool mission. I have no means of knowing what you're all about to do. Ernest actually gives a heartfelt speech here, saying that he doesn't want us to get killed in this assignment, and that it's up to us. We appreciate Ernest's concern, and he dismisses us. Hopefully not for the last time. We report to the police HQ, and Roy has returned, revealing the location of the Z hideout. It's in that outside world we saw earlier, aka the real world, and they also have Rahu, so we need to act fast. And a quick little side note here, there's actually a pretty disturbing secret ending here. If you rapidly click "I'm not going" for the final mission, this will happen. honestly a little terrifying that, after all, Harry kind of comes back to us after all of humanity has been wiped out. I didn't know this after I finished the game, as I don't have footage for it, so shout out to this guy who recorded it. Deciding to head out, we assemble our crew. Me, Harry, Marcia, Mira, and Roy. We head towards the outside world, and it's still very unsettling. Following Roy, he's discovered a manhole that leads to the Z hideout, and holy shit, how'd they build this infrastructure here? This place looks massive. I mean, just look at the distance. There looks like to be even more infrastructure out there. We come to an impasse and split up. Roy and Marcia head left, while Hera, Mira, and myself head to the right. We come to a lounge of sorts where we come across a few Z lackeys discussing an active power struggle. It seems between the three Z leaders, there will be a power shift if their plan comes to fruition, and these three are deciding who to follow. Anyways, we kill him and move on. We progress onward and face off against Shiner. We kill him too. Moving on, we hit a training room of sorts and face off against more Z lackeys. Mira actually loses her fight, so we step in and show her how it's done. And we also fight this naked guy, kill him, and keep going. The next room is the Illegal Part Manufacturing Center, as these two researchers talk about developing illegal weapons. We fight them, and it's funny that these researchers discuss illegal parts and develop them, but don't even use them. After that room, we enter into a long hallway where we're confronted by two Z members, meaning this will be a 2-on-1. Never mind, Roy shows up and makes it a 2v2. Roy congratulates us on our fight and tells us how special we all are, except Harry. Harry's different and he refuses to accept him? What do you mean by that? What do you mean different? We both laugh for some reason and continue on. We're getting closer now and goddamn, another fight. Kill them and move on. Marcia links up with us, and Roy exclaims again that Harry is different. What do you mean by that? We reach the main research room and are ambushed once more by three Z members, but instead of us fighting them, Roy stays behind and fights all three of them at once.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Finally, we head into the big red door. Marcia and I confront Oboro and Sergei. They're confining Rahu in this chamber. Why, you may ask? Well, Oboro is more than willing to explain it to us. Our Z researchers are remodeling Rahu. We're making a model people can dive into. Once we control Rahu's destructive powers, we'll be invincible. The government, the police squad, everyone in the world will be under our command. Marcia confronts her brother about leaving, but is interrupted by Oboro, stating that, I hate to interrupt, but sorry, Sergei. Even though she's your sister, she's seen our hideout. We can't let her leave. So is he gonna friggin' kill us? So we start the fight, and Sergei joins Oboro in our 2v2 fight. Oboro states, looks like Sergei understands that a well-ordered world is more important than his own little sister. I shout out to Sergei to snap out of it, and that Marcia's been worried about you and shit like that, and we all begin to battle, but not before Sergei joins our side and fights with us against Oboro in a 3v1. We absolutely crush Oboro, and I even got a perfect rating, meaning that I didn't get hit. I know. Sergei even reveals that he's been duping Oboro this whole time. All this time, I've been following the orders of another. Oboro thinks that Sergei is working with Eliza, the hot chick from the Chinese restaurant. That's a wild plan. Where Sergei fires back with, you're wrong, Oboro. I don't work for Eliza, nor do I want to keep Rahu for myself. Rahu does not belong to anyone, nor should it be tampered with. Rahu is a dangerous entity. We must stop it before it evolves. My main objective was to bring someone here who could stop Rahu. A little side note here is that this Rahu version is different than the last one, this being Rahu 2, along with its gun and bombs being subsequent upgrades. Although tough, we managed to defeat Rahu / Ouroboros thing. Ouroboros exclaims that Rahu didn't listen to him. Sergei fires back with, Rahu can't be controlled, not by Oboro, not by anyone, and Rahu flees. We're reunited with our crew, greetings are exchanged, and Sergei takes us to a room so he can explain some backstory. Sergey insists on playing a message from Z's former leader. The message plays and they say my name? Zach, you'll never know how proud I am that you came this far. There's also a funny clip of dialogue here that you can pick. You'll never guess. It's because I'm a member of the Z syndicate too. What did you say? You've been lying to us this whole time? You're joking, right? Yeah, I'm just joking. And once you know it, the former leader of Z is actually my dad. I know, it's pretty cool. Sergey continues to play the message. If you're listening to this message, that means Rahu has returned, and our time is short. I wish that I could have been here to see you, to fight with you in this final, glorious moment. However, if you are hearing this, it also means my time has come, and I am gone from this world. I have given my loyal friend Sergey details on your mission. Trust him as you would have trusted me. You do not have much time left. Give Sergey the watch I gave to you to care for so long ago. With the power contained in that watch, you can defeat Rahu. I failed you as a father in life, and my final wish in death is nothing but a fool's errand. I'm sorry, son. Damn, pretty deep stuff. This watch he's mentioned though, we still have it on. What's the reason for having this watch? This is explained in a bit, but in terms of Sergey's disappearance, Sergey actually became an S-class commander and explored the outside world. In there, he met my father. They had a lengthy conversation about life in the dome and other things. My father asks, "Why are you here?" Sergey chimes back with, and I told him that I wanted to know the truth about the outside world. Finally, he asks me, "Do you want to protect this world from annihilation?" Then he said, "As long as you remain in your world, you will never see the truth. The truth lies in darkness. If you discover an inconsistency in your perfectly ordered world, where all things are controlled, anything that cannot be explained, come see me again, and I may be able to help you. Tell no one that we met, and tell no one what we discussed." This inconsistency that Sergey found was his sister. Her power to half-dive into robos and such. While we've only seen it once, it affected Marcia to a degree that altered her way of life. Sergey states, "I found out what they did to Marcia at that research center. It wasn't science, it was torture. They say that all people are created equal, but my sister's power stole equality from her. If this isn't an inconsistency, then what is? How did I go so long without questioning this? I couldn't wait. Once I'd seen this inconsistency clearly, I had to leave to meet that man again. I told him about Marcia, and he said, 'In order to understand, you must know everything.' And he told me the real truth, something that even most Class S commanders do not know. The real truth." There's another truth? Well, go on, Sergey, you got me this far, keep going. You're all aware that centuries ago, Rahu nearly wiped out the human race. Yeah, we were told that Rahu annihilated all the dome cities people lived in except for ours. You were never told the truth about the outside world. You believe we lived in domes up there? Well, yeah, I mean, where else would we live? We lived free in the outside world. We lived in vast cities, in the open air. Rahu destroyed all of that. You are correct, but there's still more that you do not know. The dome builders left Rahu inoperative in the outside world before they sealed themselves in. It sounds like you're saying we deliberately chose to live in a cage like animals. That's right, the dome protects us, but it also keeps us trapped. Caged. Wait a sec, you said Rahu was inoperative? So how did we stop Rahu last time? Rahu possessed no form of its own. It was more like a spirit than a living creature. What? No form? That doesn't make any sense. We saw it. It looked like a custom Robo. I'll explain that later. Let me continue though. Originally, Rahu was invisible, formless, but still physical, still capable of inflicting damage. We couldn't see it, but it was a real creature and it evolved rapidly. Not in the traditional sense, but yes, that's correct. Rahu has two fundamental behaviors. The first is to acquire new targets, in this case, us. Once it identifies its prey, Rahu destroys it, swiftly and utterly. It appropriates any useful abilities its victim possessed, anything it has not encountered before, then, like a chrysalis, it goes dormant, awakens with new skills, and continues its hunt. So what we were saying is that it targets a creature with its abilities, doesn't have them, and steals them, then it turns to a pupa, rests for a bit, and changes into an even scarier monster? Yeah, that's just about the size of it. That is just a secondary behavior though. Its primary function is to annihilate every living thing. So what can we do? I mean, other than just roll over and die, how did they stop it 100 years ago when it was running amok? Custom Robos. It was because of Custom Robo that they were able to defeat Rahu. Custom Robos? Back then, custom robos were nothing but children's toys, like robotic action figures. It may sound strange, but even now, there is much we do not know about custom robos. Rahu's destructive rampage was at its peak, and we were all but extinct, when suddenly, Rahu targeted a young child's robo toy. Then something inexplicable happened. Rahu merged with the robo, melded itself with it. That's weird, why did it do that? I'm not sure. Some people think there's a connection between Rahu and the custom robo. It almost sounds like Rahu did a dive into that custom robo and, I don't know, got stuck or something. And that's why Rahu looks the way it does now. That's why we can even see it in the first place. That's correct. Now that our enemy was visible, we had a chance to fight back and we seized it. The government remodeled custom robos as weapons to battle Rahu's new robo form. Finally, after many grueling battles, we defeated Rahu. Actually, let me correct myself. We didn't defeat it, but we were able to trigger its dormant cycle. The dormant Rahu had no new information to assimilate, and so it didn't evolve and it didn't awaken. We couldn't destroy Rahu though. Instead, we bought ourselves some time. So that's the rest of the story we didn't know. But wait, don't you think it's a little funny? Rahu was capable of destroying the entire world and we stopped it with a child's toy? I know what you're thinking. Rahu couldn't be stopped simply with a custom robo. There was something else, a device designed to stop Rahu by targeting his robo systems. A device? Let me ask you. Roy, when did you first find out about the Rahu attack? Why are you suddenly... I first learned the truth when I became a Class S commander. How about you, Captain Mira? It was the same. I didn't know a thing until I was promoted. Don't you think that's odd? What? This is the single most significant and traumatic event in human history, and no one knows. It's classified knowledge. The government dictates who should and should not know. But how could they stop the survivors from passing on these stories to their children? The people respect the word of the government. They knew it was confidential. Do you actually believe that the government has the power to silence such a terrible thing? Can you think of any other reason why no one talked about this horrific event? It does seem difficult to imagine. So many years have passed and nobody knew the full scope of it. Even becoming Class S commander didn't explain anything. The reason this is such a well-kept secret is because the survivors chose to keep it a secret. It's because their memories were wiped clean. It is a secret because no one was allowed to remember. What? Oh, for crying out loud, this is all starting to get real confusing here. What you're saying is that everyone, and I mean everyone, forgot about Rahu entirely? That's correct. That's impossible. What could possibly make everyone just forget about this all at once? Oh, nothing could make that happen naturally. Are you saying someone devised a way to erase everyone's living memory entirely? Yes, the engineers of this foolish plan wanted to erase everyone's memory and implant false ones. Our government carried out this plan hundreds of years ago once the dome was completed. The government found a way to make everyone forget about Rahu? The world exists entirely within the dome. There is nothing. We were all raised thinking that this dome is our true home where we live and die. That is the great lie. The memory implant told us all that this dome contained mankind's entire world. But why? Rahu will awaken. It is inevitable. Could you live a normal life knowing that Rahu would return? But never knowing when. I see. It was to give us a sense of security, even if it was just a lie. But how is that possible? What could possibly erase everyone's memory like that? I don't know, but they did it. They made a device that could erase everyone's memory. I can't believe that. I'm sure we would have heard of something like that. Captain Mira, I've already told you, there are some things that not even Class S commanders have been told. How do you know you didn't make this whole story up? I suppose you have no evidence except for that one of these devices still exists today. So where is it? It's your father's watch. That's a device. It can erase people's memories. You've had it all along. What? That's why Z's leader said something about defeating Rahu with Hero's Watch. I see. The device that was used to defeat Rahu was the one that could erase people's memories. Yes, hundreds of years ago, that very device helped us defeat Rahu.
Marcia then asks us about our father.
He was a distinguished scientist, one of the highest ranking officials in the government. That is why he told the truth. We all live with false memories implanted by the government. When he learned that people had been deprived of the truth for so long, he began to have doubts. He questioned the ethics of the plan, and he knew that Rahu would rise. Sergei turned his direction to Marcia. Marcia, my leader told me where your power came from. It is a result of the erasure, a side effect. Right now, every aspect of the brain's development is controlled. The side effect was unexpected. Nobody realized that the dramatic change in the environment and the memory blocks and implants would generate this effect. No one could explain what exactly created Marcia's power. Marcia, your power is born from the tragedy humans suffered hundreds of years ago. Let's get back to the subject. You said that Zach's father had doubts about the false memories. Was he the only one in the government who felt this way? He was. He's still the only remaining model of the memory erasure device. He escaped to the outside world with several of his colleagues. I'm sure the government must have been quick to send someone after him. Yes, the government's soldiers had one goal. That was to retrieve the memory erasure device. They searched all over the outside world for him, but he was always one step ahead. Instead of taking the device with him into exile, he hid it inside the domed city itself. He reconfigured it into that watch so that no one would be able to identify it. And then he gave it to Zach. Yes, to the one person he could trust, someone who didn't know the power of the object he held. And that's when your leader formed the Z Syndicate. And all this time, the Z Syndicate's goal has actually been to inform the people of the truth. It was at first. We wanted people to know the truth, to prepare themselves in case Rahu did attack again. But as time passed, he began to worry, to doubt himself. He began to worry that informing everyone of the truth would only trigger mass panic. He realized that it might be best to find a way to stop Rahu without people ever having to know it. That was the moment when my leader formed a syndicate made up of the strongest fighters. Strong fighters? And that's why he recruited you? I wanted to save this ruined world. In order to do that, I knew I'd have to help him. He told me he needed someone to support him, no matter how insane his orders might seem. But you could have told Marcia before you left. You ordered that much at least. To be honest, I had planned on leaving Marcia before I met your father. My sister wouldn't do anything I told her. If I'd stayed, she would never have left my shadow. It was unacceptable, unthinkable. I wanted her to think for herself, to grow into the commander that she is. I thought that if I weren't around, she would have the opportunity she needed to think for herself. That's why I left the way I did, but I always watched over her. I would have come to her aid in a second if she were ever in danger. I left, even though I ran the risk of alienating her, or making her hate me for leaving her. Sergei, I've learned something important. My partners taught me something more valuable than I realized. Spoiling something isn't love. Sometimes you need to be strict in order to be compassionate. That's when I figured it out. That's when I knew that my older brother still cared about me, that he still loved me. I wondered if that wasn't why you had left me in the first place. They helped me understand, and that's why I still love you. Thank you, Sergei. Still, after hearing all that, it sounds like Z formed in order to help out mankind. But what about Oboro? That guy wanted Rahu for himself. When our leader grew ill, Oboro and Eliza made a grab for power. That's when it began to crumble. The more they knew about Rahu's amazing powers, the more they wanted to possess it. They'd forgotten our leader's goals, and they planned such foolishness as diving into Rahu. I guess there's always one selfish sicko in every group. I acted as his subordinate while looking for the chance to strike back. But wait, why was Eliza at the lab? Did it have something to do with Rahu? Oboro and Eliza both knew that the memory erasure device was the key to destroying Rahu, but they didn't know our leader had already stolen it. He was never sure he could trust them. They wanted the device so that they could tame Rahu for their own ends instead of destroying it. Eliza must have thought that the custom Robo research lab would have such a device. That's why she attacked the lab.
So, an absolute nuke of information there. Rahu conjoined with a custom Robo and was finally vulnerable to damage. Using custom Robos, humanity was actually able to fight back and trigger Rahu's dormant stage, not before it laid waste to pretty much everything we knew. Although, rather than rebuilding, we constructed domes and hid under them and wiped out everyone's memory of the event. For control? For salvation? Who knows? For if the people knew that Rahu would return, could we ever live fulfilling lives? The question is up to you. I believe if we knew of its return, we'd definitely be more prepared than we are now. Not only that, but the people's memories were wiped out with this memory erasure device, so that we couldn't even remember what happened. Take it back to our custom Robos. Sergei even states that it may sound strange, but even now, there's so much we do not know about custom Robos. To an extent, we use these Robos without knowing their destructive capacity, or what they're even capable of. That question from earlier, for if people knew that Rahu would return, could we ever live fulfilling lives? It almost reminds me a little bit of the Cold War, in a sense, of nuclear annihilation, that one day, your whole world could just end. It could even tie back to Lovecraftian horror, in that monstrous beings that we have no way of stopping can just end our lives, or could end our world in a blink of an eye. Knowing that information, knowing that that's happened, could we ever live fulfilling lives? I'm not so sure we could. Truth in Custom Robo is that we hid the most traumatic event in our history away from the people. We did not heal, we did not grow, and we did not move on from this event. Even now, its presence still haunts us. We didn't tackle the problem head on.
Story just gets weirder and weirder, doesn't it? Continuing on with the story, Sergei asks us for our watch. He says he has a chip that was given to him from my father. With the chip inserted, the memory erasure functions are now restored, and with it, we have a means to fight back against Rahu. We leave the Z facility and head to a rundown amusement park. Proceeding onward, we're stopped by some more Z gooners, so we engage in a giant battle, and we destroy them again in a custom Robo battle. Proceeding onward, again? This time we're against the 2-on-2 Masters. That's a name. We fight again and we win. Finally proceeding onward, and oh, for God's sake! Mira and Roy hold back to fight the lackeys, while Sergei, Mira, Harry, and myself charge forward. Harry stops to use the restroom real quick and asks me to go with him because he's spooked out by the place, and I don't blame him, and there's actually people in here taking a piss. We fight him off, and then we're confronted by more Z-grunts outside. The Fabulous Four, which no one has ever heard of. And they weren't even that tough at all. So, heading into the funhouse, as it's called, we target Rahu once and for all, and we're ambushed by people in these floorboards in every direction. And I'll be honest, this part is super annoying, so we're going to fast forward a little bit here. We make it to the end of the maze, where we're ambushed by the devilishly beautiful Eliza. We fight against her 4 goons while Sergei holds her off. And then Eliza comes back? Hold on, but her name is Isabella? They're twins, which would explain Evil beforehand being confused at Isabella not knowing who he is. A 2v2 ensues with Eliza, Isabella, Harry, and myself, and I actually got my ass kicked. Is it my fault that they're rocking illegal parts? So I got my ass kicked twice, so what? We finally win and head into Rahu's chamber. And this atmosphere is crazy. Faint heartbeat can be heard, and there also appears to be growth around Rahu, and its form has changed. An evolution has definitely occurred here. This is it, the final showdown. Marcia, Harry, and I charge in. I decide to use the memory erasure device on Rahu to suppress its growth. Rahu reels back and engages us. Looking at the opponent data screen, this is Rahu's third and final form. At least in the Robo stage, and the design looks insane. What definitely could be described as a kid's toy in the first 2 stages is now a fully fledged monster that looks like it could wreak havoc. The fight is unique as well, as it's the only 3v1 in the game you compete in. All of your combined forces, you shoot bullets, bombs, and melee Rahu. A notable thing about this fight is that Rahu doesn't actually have a downstate, at least in this form. It will keep on fighting no matter how much damage is taken. Even meleeing Rahu doesn't take him down, as does every Robo in the game. And I lost. And we'll talk about more of this at the end, because this game is friggin' hard, and after losing twice, we managed to take down Rahu 3. The whole crew arrives and we assemble in the meeting room. Sergei states that he has one last message from my father after we defeated Rahu, which is a little weird. How did you know that 1, I was supposed to beat this thing, and 2, that I would have even become a Robo Commander in the first place? Oh well, silly Billy things, I guess. I know I'll never see you again, and so I wanted to give you these last few words. I'm sure people had their reasons for wanting to forget what happened to them centuries ago, and for those reasons, we now live in an age of darkness, of forgetting. We didn't have to remember the horrors Rahu had created, but there was a problem. We also didn't remember that Rahu was still out there, waiting for its chance to return. It seems obvious in retrospect that all this should happen. After all, nobody knew to prepare a defense against it. Nobody even knew Rahu existed anymore. In fact, the government created false memories, told us that the dome was the extent of our world. The ruins of the outside world would only bring doubts to the minds of those who saw it. They would want to know what had caused all that destruction, and slowly, over time, the odds became greater that someone would discover this truth. The government could not abide this threat of instability. It did away with all the knowledge of the outside. This was theft, plain and simple. The curious had been robbed of the ability to discover, to learn. People learn from their mistakes. We learn and our thinking grows. It leads us to a higher level. As long as there is an unknown, humans will pursue it and seek to unravel its mysteries. The government had stolen our growth, those things that forced us to evolve and explore. The memory erasure device is a powerful tool if used properly. Our government, despite its pure motives, used it to an evil end. They used it to stop us from evolving and growing. Now that you've stopped Rahu, you must ask yourself how best to use the device. Will you erase everyone's memory of Rahu to prove that we have not grown as a species at all in the past few centuries? Mankind will be frozen, static, incapable of bettering itself. Only death lies down that path, Zach. I'm sure your friends are listening to you, and I beg of you all, we cannot repeat the mistake of our forefathers. Consider carefully how you can use that device for the benefit of us all. I leave the rest up to you. Take care, Zach. Roy then asks Captain Mira, Captain Mira, what will benefit the people? I just don't know anymore. Showing his insecurity of the reality that he lives in, he, now knowing the truth, is faced with the same question we all are faced with. What do we do? Sergei, I think, sums it up best. Captain Mira, we must tell the people the truth. The Z Syndicate's work is done. The people see us as criminals. We have to repair that image. After all, as long as the truth about the outside world is kept secret, the police squad was unable to stop the Z Syndicate's wayward members. If we have to keep this secret, others could exploit that knowledge. The people have a right to know what happened centuries ago. It's their history too. Even if the truth were to disturb the people, it will make them stronger. If it confuses the people, we will have to think of measures to stabilize them. And if the government still wants to hide the truth, then I will bring the truth to the people myself. So, Captain Mira, Harry, Roy, Marcia, and Sergei agree to bring the truth to the people. Mira asks for our watch to give to the lovely Miss Linda to make sure it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. I'm not too sure about how I feel about it, but it's our only option, and we accept it under the condition that we get the watch back. I think my dad placed a lot of memories into that watch. This watch is the only thing I have left of my parents. I don't care if you use the memory erasure device on me, or if you take it out of my watch, just bring it back to me. That's all I ask. With that, we return home, excited to share the news with the people. And that, my friends, is the Custom Robo story. The story has resonated with me for a little while now, and I felt that it deserved all the attention that it got, because it's just really damn good. It's a story of struggle, of growing, and harsh truths that need to be told in order to move on with your life and the world around you. One that I see a lot of parallels with, as I mentioned before, 1984 by George Orwell. I feel like this book should be a standard read in someone's library or reading journey, as it tells a lot about power structures and about a dystopia in the future. How to prevent such a thing from happening, if at all possible. I will say it does feel a little dated in some aspects, it being a novel from 1949, but nonetheless, it's still a pretty good read, although it is a little doomer-esque, I should say, it being a dystopian novel. I'm getting off track, but the story is phenomenal, all wrapped up in some very addicting gameplay. And I know I skipped over a lot of the fights, but the game is a lot of fun to play, and very challenging, as you've seen from my gameplay. So, in conclusion, the dark truth in Custom Robo is just that, a harsh truth. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. From the ashes, phoenixes rise. In order to move on from your trauma, you must face it head on. That is the dark truth in Custom Robo. Growing from your mistakes, growing as a person, and moving on with your life. And it's crazy to think that this isn't a GameCube game. And now, lastly, I want to talk about some features in the game, as I didn't really discuss them in the actual video itself, but I wanted to go into detail a little bit about the many systems and things that I liked about it. The art style. Absolute peak. The overworld alone, it gives this feeling of a liminal space once you learn of the truth. It feels so open, but so closed off at the same time. It's just so eerie, but interesting. I don't know how to describe it. It's cool. And the reality that this is the world is so crazy, because on my initial playthrough, and I mean, just by looking at the game, you'd think this is just the GameCube's limitation, but no, this is a deliberate choice. Maybe it's not. Perhaps they wanted to add more detail to the wall, but it feels deliberate. And to the Robos themselves, they all look fantastic. However, there is a personal pet peeve of mine with the Robos with the human-like features.
Something about them is just really weird to me. I'm just not a huge fan of the realistic-looking Robos. You all know that the Halberd is probably my favorite Robo in the game, as it doesn't look like an ordinary dude. It actually looks like a cool-ass looking robot.
Also, its dash is really fucking cool. I mean, look at Harry's Robo. Harry's Robo is actually kind of cool as it reminds me of System Shock, but Mira's Robo, or even the Metal Ox, or better yet, the Metal Bear Robo, the facial features, they just take it out of me a little bit. And again, this is just my opinion, and also they gave the robot tits. Make of that what you will. The music. Originally, I didn't have a segment for this in my video, but going back and listening to the whole soundtrack while editing this video, it is incredible. Some of my personal favorite tracks are You Ready?, which plays whilst customizing your Robo, and is arguably the best song in the entire game. It honestly never gets old. Another one of my favorites is Say Hello to Bogey. Obviously, this plays when you're interacting with Bogey's Cafe. Honestly, just such a groovy tune. Forest of Nostalgia is also another of my favorites, this being what I call like the revelation song. This is where you learn of the world being entirely fake and your father being part of the Z Syndicate. And all the battle tracks are super dope. Panic Cube. Mysterious Voice. And I think my personal favorite, Frozen World. Frozen World is it literally kind of sounds like its name. I don't know how to describe it. It's a good song. I know this isn't a review, but I'm gonna review it anyways. The game is a solid 8 out of 10. The gameplay is action-packed, with you zipping around corners, dodging bombs, and blasting away Robos. And the story is insanely deep. And to top it off, the soundtrack is great, insanely killer. I will say though that the only thing is that the gameplay can get a little repetitive. I mean, for me personally, in my games, I like, a breather level. For instance, like something that isn't just, basic gameplay. Like maybe if there was like a platforming level or like a time travel level, I feel like that could work super well with the sort of sandbox that they have for this game. If they had something like that to break up, the gameplay every once in a while, that would be perfect. And another thing too is that a lot of the Robos that you unlock at the later portions of the game. If there were a way to purchase Robo parts instead of unlocking them at certain story intervals, then the customization would open up a lot sooner instead of later. Speaking of unlocking the Robos, there actually is a little continuation after the story in a mode called the Grand Battle. This takes place right after the main story and is pretty much just street battling between different sections of the overworld. Each battle is unique in some way. One tournament will have you face off in 2v2s, another tournament will have you be able to use certain parts once. There's even a battle royale tournament where it's an all-out battle to see who will win. These are all pretty fun, and completing these with a certain high score will allow you to unlock certain illegal Robos, even the Rahu series. And you can get an oil can Robo and a chicken heart Robo, which I don't actually know what these are or do. Apparently the oil can is the weakest Robo in the game. That might be fun to do like a challenge run with or something, the oil can Robo with all his oil can accessories. Anywho, there aren't many story elements in the grand battle, but oh wait, it's Oboro. This guy's running a tournament? Why is he acting so different? All of his memories been erased? What? Actors? Does he think he's an actor? What the hell? If you progress onto Ouroboros tournament, Sergei elaborates. Yes, we erased Ouroboros, Shiners, and everyone else's memory. What? Have we not learned anything in the story about reform and growing from your mistakes and accepting harsh truths? In all seriousness, this is just really fucked up. How can we have had a story that was all about accepting truth when we used the same erasure device to erase the bad guy's memories? This feels like we learned nothing in the story. What the hell is this truth then? The truth that we learned nothing? Like, could you imagine, like, a criminal in real life or something, right? Who murders somebody or does even something even more heinous. Think of a heinous crime. Imagine if we just erased the bad guys' memories and the good guys kept their memories, or the victims kept their memories. That would be insane. I don't know. This part is just so crazy to me. This throws everything into question. These secret government officials, Linda, who we gave the watch to, and the police force. What stops them from using the memory erasure device if we don't have control over it, as we held it in our possession? I don't even know. This is just so wild to me. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna be the end of this video. I greatly appreciate everybody who has made it this far. This video took a while to make. I mean, I almost replay Custom Robo twice just to even understand, the main story, the customization. I just, rediscover a game that I haven't played for so long. So yeah, I appreciate everyone who's taking the time out of the day to watch that. I'm just gonna read from my notes a little bit. Just to get my point across, but yeah, a little update in terms of the channel. My goal for the remainder of the year is to try to get to 10,000 subscribers. I'm at 4K as of the making of this video, like 4,400, I believe. So my goal is to hit 2K by the end of the year, or 2K, goal done. 10K by the end of the year. So if you can, subscribe, that'd be really cool. I'm gonna make a bunch more cool videos like this. So yeah, that's my ultimate goal. Another goal of mine is do a video a month. It's been a little unsuccessful with that so far, but yeah, just with everything going on, my current job, everything else in life, just been trying to put in, many pieces of the pie from here and there, So yeah, but I really do still enjoy making videos. I love filmmaking, video editing, making something that you can all enjoy and discuss and perhaps learn something from. It's very special. It's really cool. And yeah, the fact that I'm able to do this, I'm very grateful that I still can do this. So yeah, that's gonna be it from me, and I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, whatever you're doing, but do something cool. Peace. Jeez, almost knocked over the green screen.